The following training video will show you how to replace the boot, or as some refer to it, the bellows, on EHP built front load washers. We will demonstrate how to do this job without removing the tub from inside the washer by including some great tips. We will, however, be showing some operations with the tub removed and lying on its back so that you will be able to see them more clearly. With some experience, this job should only take 30 to 40 minutes. If possible, the machine should be pulled out and lean back against the wall. This will cause the tub to hang back from the front panel, allowing you more room to work. If this is not possible, you can wedge a 6 to 8 inch block of wood between the front panel and the tub to create the needed workspace. This procedure will be shown in detail later. First, we need to remove the front of the boot from the front panel. It may be attached with glue to the front panel. If so, use the sharpened and bent putty knife to carefully cut through the glue. Newer models use a wire spring clamp instead. If the boot is attached to the perimeter lip with a wire clamp, insert a small screwdriver between the spring and the boot at the 6 o'clock position. Gently pull down and out on the spring, working the clamp off of the boot. Once the boot is loose from the front panel, push it into the opening of the tub and out of the way. At this point, if the unit is not leaning back, take your 6 to 8 inch block of wood and while pushing back on the tub, insert it between the tub and the front panel at the 2 o'clock position. Note that the extruded section of the boot is still attached to the water duct. It is located just inside the front panel at the 10 o'clock position. This is where the water, soap, bleach, and fabric softener enter the tub. To remove and later reattach the clamp holding the boot in place, you will need to make a tool from a piece of 3/8 inch soft copper or aluminum tubing. Simply crush the end of it so it will slip over the twisted end of the duct clamp. Twist the tool counterclockwise to release the ends of the duct clamp. Remove the clamp and set it aside with the tool. Now, using both hands, hold the boot at the bottom of the opening and pull upwards toward you with a steady pressure. This is to make sure the coiled spring that holds the boot does not slip back into the tub lip. Now pull the spring and the boot off. Once the boot is off, examine the lip around the perimeter of the opening of the front of the tub. This is the lip that the new boot needs to slip over. The new boot has a channel that will have to be folded onto the lip of the front tub shell. This simple cutaway drawing shows you how the boot is secured in behind the tub lip by the spring being installed in the channel of the boot. To start this attachment, sparingly lubricate the channel on the boot with dishwashing liquid to make it easier to slip over the lip of the tub shell. Wipe off your hands before handling the boot to install it. Now locate the arrow located on the top of the boot. This must point up when the boot is installed at the 12 o'clock position. Hold the new boot, open its channel or stretch it onto the lip at the top of the tub shell. Hold the boot with one hand to prevent it from slipping off. Then use the other hand to slip it onto the tub lip. Continue this around the tub shell opening until the new boot is fully attached. Assure that the arrow is pointing at the 12 o'clock position. Next, we will install the retaining spring. Included in the new boot kit is a set of 3 spacers. These are to be used to hold the retaining spring in the channel on the outside edge of the boot between it and the cement counterweights. First, we'll show with the tub in the cabinet. It takes both hands to stretch the spring into place. The spacers will prevent the spring from popping out of the channel as you stretch it further around the boot. Begin by pushing the spring down into the groove on the tub at the 12 o'clock position. While holding the spring in place with one hand, use the other to tightly wedge the spacer above it, between the spring and the channel and the cement weight ring above it. Work your way around to the right, pushing the spring down into the channel on the front tub shell. When you reach the 3 o'clock position from the first spacer, the spring will begin to get tight. Push in another spacer at this position to be sure to check the first spacer. If it pops out, the spring also will. Continue being careful now to check both spacers until you reach the 6 o'clock position, where you will install the third spacer. The spring will be very tight once you've gone past the 6 o'clock position. The spring will be easier to roll into the rest of the channel as long as the 3 spacers remain tightly in place. When you have the spring in place, be sure to remove all 3 spacers before proceeding to the next step. Replace the extruded section of the boot back onto the water and soap duct near the top of the opening and pull it up over the ridge of the duct near the top of the opening. Reinstall the clamp so that it sits between the ridges on the extrusion and above the ridge on the duct. Snap the clamp shut with the tubing tool you used previously. Now clean the surface where the boot fits against the front panel. Remount the boot onto the front panel, making sure it's not wrinkled. Wrinkles will cause water to pool in the new boot and leak onto the floor when the door is open. If this happens when you test the unit, pull the boot loose from the front panel and adjust it clockwise or counterclockwise as necessary. Next, insert the wire spring clamp from the kit into the groove at the top of the boot. Work the clamp into the channel all the way around the boot, making sure the spring is oriented to the 6 o'clock position. Run the washer through a wash cycle and check it for leaks.